2 years ago, this month, New Jersey made conservation history by becoming the first state in the U.S. to ban the ivory trade. 23 countries have destroyed their seized ivory stockpiles during the last few years, from the Philippines, France, and China, to the United Arab Emirates, Congo, and Sri Lanka, and Kenya, burning over 103 tons of seized ivory and rhino horns. With our own destruction today, New Jersey shows our solidarity with these countries, especially with the African elephant range states, who have borne the brunt of the elephant poaching and ivory trafficking crisis. The poaching, cruelty, and extinction threat that the African elephant is facing is not a concern solely confined to conservationists, animal advocates, or wildlife officials. Elephants have a unique role in our ecosystem and are worthy of our highest protection. The Humane Society of the United States and our global affiliate, Humane Society International, are pressing forward with efforts at home and abroad to protect elephants from commercial exploitation and ecological extinction.
We've been working towards similar objectives here in Jersey City. Just next week, we'll have on the City Council taking a step similar to Bergen County, formally banning circuses that have elephants and animals here in Hudson County. And we think it's step by step, city by city, county by county that you can make change in protecting these beautiful animals. Thank you for coming out on a tremendously hot day where there's an opportunity to have a voice and make a difference. So thank you and continue the fight.
3 months ago, I was in Nairobi, where I listened with my own ears to Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta say, quote, direct quote, "No one has any business in trading with ivory, for this trade means death." That's what the President of Kenya said. The President knew that tens of thousands of elephants are being consumed each year by the malignant ivory trade. And he knew the human toll is insufferable. Kenya Wildlife Service alone has suffered the loss of 65 good rangers, men and women, in the line of duty. The toll is indicative of the price being paid by many other African countries as well. Perhaps most important, they are a great symbol of freedom in Africa's forests and savannas. Most of all, they are free to be what they are. We celebrate their intelligence, their impressive memories, and all the other qualities that make them full partners in this family of life in our shared biosphere. We must run to their aid in their hour of need.
I am from Vermont and have been fighting to save elephants since 2013, when I testified at the Vermont State House in support of a bill which would ban the sale of ivory in my state. Following the march, I produced a movie with the goal of educating people around the world about the importance of keeping this a world with elephants. Did you know that the seeds of over 100 different species of trees must pass through the gut of an elephant in order to germinate? Without elephants, African forests would die. The rainforests in Central Africa are one of the most important resources in fighting climate change. Elephants spread seeds throughout the land, which helps new plants and trees to grow. Elephants open woodlands and clearings as they feed and roam, which helps to regenerate forests. Every piece of illegal ivory that is purchased has an associated trail of blood that leads from butchered elephants to terrorist fighters and ultimately to the killing of human beings in terrorist attacks. The world's worst militia and terrorist groups are being funded by the $1.8 billion annual ivory trade. Militias and terrorist groups funded by ivory are not only poaching elephants, they are hiding inside national parks, looting communities, enslaving people, and killing park rangers that get in their way.
Every 15 minutes, an elephant in Africa is killed for its ivory. 3 rhinos are poached every day for their horn. And many other less iconic species are also targeted by poachers around the world. And all countries are affected by wildlife crime, be it as a country of origin, a country of transit, or a country of destination like the US and Germany. Obviously, this has to stop. We need a decisive response by the international community for this growing international problem. My message to you today is the following. If we all do our part, on the local level, on the national level, on the regional level, and on the international level, we can and we will succeed to preserve elephants, rhinos, and many other endangered species for future generations. So let us send a strong signal today from New Jersey that we are determined to put an end to illicit wildlife trafficking.
It was just over a year ago when I saw online a video that literally changed my life forever. It was a video of an elephant that had been poached. Her trunk was completely severed and her face was gone. All that could be made out was her mouth. And you could hear the ranger in the video saying, "This poor baby has been out here all night." The worst part of it was that she was still moving. Her mouth was opening as if crying out for help, but nobody was coming. It was heart-wrenching for me to see, and in that moment, I decided I'd do everything in my power to help these animals who are suffering so horrifically because of the greed of our own human race. The war against the animals in Africa is real and extremely dangerous. Man is causing this problem, so it's up to man to solve this problem, or woman. And I really want each and every one of you to take this home today. Everyone here has a voice. Probably all of you are on some sort of social media, but please stop thinking of it as social. Think of it as mission media. It's your mission to educate everyone in your circle, everyone you can possibly reach. There are still so many people, especially in the US, who don't know about the poaching crisis. They don't know that 96 plus elephants a day are brutally dying for their ivory. They've probably never even thought about where ivory comes from. But you know the truth. You're here for a reason. What I've learned is that it's absolutely imperative to have government support in every country to save these animals. Because if they're not working with you, they're working against you. And that's a very hard battle to win.
Gandhi counseled us, the moral compass of a nation, the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way it treats its animals. So how can we allow these legislative initiatives at our state level and comprehensive regulations at the federal level to languish instead of prioritizing it? Which is why the efforts of Representative Dean in Pennsylvania, on the heels of what we did in New Jersey with my counterpart in the Senate, Senator Lesniak, is so important. So when you go home to your states, because I know several of you traveled from afar, and I appreciate you being here on this hot day in supporting us, it is so crucial that you remind your friends and family and neighbors that while even just because you don't take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you. And only with your advocacy to your state legislators, to your federal lawmakers, with the support of their big city mayors like Mayor Fulop, who has championed the puppy mill bill, who has championed with our delegation in Hudson County the trophy hunting ban, the ivory ban, and what they're doing to prohibit circuses here in Jersey City. With the actions of policymakers like that, when they know that it matters to citizens like you, their compassion will get the better of us, and these laws will go from being bills to enacted legislation.
Poaching has become increasingly organized, sophisticated, and militarized. Teams of hunters use high-powered rifles and night vision goggles to locate and track their victims and to evade the rangers tasked with protecting them. Kingpin traders are amassing literally tons of ivory, and they pay off corrupt port and customs officials so their shipments can slip out of the country and across the sea undetected. And for those who do get caught, corruption and weak civil institutions make any kind of punishment unlikely at all. Wildlife crime is a low-risk, high-reward business. But as you've heard, poaching is a problem for all of us. It destabilizes already vulnerable, poor rural communities, and it allows militant organizations like Joseph Kony's Lord's Resistance Army to continue to be able to afford to buy weapons. And it destabilizes governments by showing that corruption can pay pretty well after all. That's to say nothing of the ethics of killing a magnificent animal simply to produce items that let people show off how rich they are. Elephants are surprisingly emotional, intelligent creatures. Just like us, they soothe each other, they play together, and they grieve together. They deserve our respect and they need our help. There are valiant people fighting to end poaching, from rangers on the ground to you all here. But that's not enough. We can do more.
My boyfriend and I were on holiday in Indonesia. And while souvenir shopping, I picked up a little box and I said, "I want this." And his response was, "But Kate, that's ivory." And I responded, "So?" And he replied, "But everybody knows there was an international ban on ivory in 1989. And I said, "Well, I didn't know." And he said, "Kate, it's a dead elephant." And I responded, "What difference does it make? It's already dead," and proceeded to buy it. 20 years ago, I was totally ignorant about the ivory trade, but today I'm not. I've witnessed firsthand how deadly the front lines of this issue really are. People are literally dying because of the ivory trade. And there are elephant populations in some parts of Africa that are so small that they will be lucky if they survive the next decade. I hope my film will educate people who don't know and don't understand, just as I didn't as a 19-year-old, because time is quickly running out. The only way to end the ivory trade is to stop trading ivory, both internationally and domestically across the world, and to insist that there is accountability for the corruption that facilitates this illegal trade, and that environmental crime is truly treated as crime, because what is happening is criminal.
We banned ivory. My president in Kenya is very active in anti-poaching, total ban of poaching of ivory. And we banned 180 tons of ivory in April. And the president clearly said the only good ivory is the one that is on the elephant. We don't need, there is no economic reason to have, to even justify any trading or form of ivory right now. The current status of managing elephant right now is not sustainable. It cannot work. If we continue the way we are going with any trade, elephant will be extinct in a short while.
So I'm actually a visual artist. I lend a visual voice to this movement, and I've been doing it for quite a while now. I did the billboard in Times Square against the ivory trade, and since then been finding unique ways to reach the masses and mobilize them. Because as mentioned time and again, people don't know. And I have done a series of things when I was a child that was considered acceptable or was encouraged by my parents or people around me, including going to SeaWorld, riding on an elephant. I can't even think of all the things, you know, going to zoos, going to an animal circus at some point. And that was just part of what I grew up with as normal. And now every one of those things are things that I'm completely opposed to. And I think if that kind of change can happen in me, it can happen in others, which is why I believe in people, and it's why I'm committed to mass communication strategies and outreach. Because every 15 minutes of your time is valuable, and you could be contributing in unique ways as only you can towards this issue. I'll also add that, you know, since change is possible, that this ban is a step in the right direction, and we have to urge other states as well as other governments to get on board. There has to be a global ban, a global consensus on this. We cannot be divisive on this matter. This time has come for us to unite for a species that deserves the time and space to be elephant on this earth, just for the sake of future generations. It would be a world stripped of its magic if it were to be gone within our lifetime.
Webster's definition of a keystone is a large stone at the top of an arc that locks the other stones into place, something on which other things depend on support. Elephants are a keystone species, a plant or animal that plays a unique and crucial role in the way an ecosystem functions. Without keystone species, the ecosystem would dramatically cease to exist altogether. A keystone species disappearance would start a domino effect Other species in the habitat would disappear and become extinct. The keystone species disappearance could affect other species that rely on it for survival. Elephants are truly the ark that lock other species into place and are vital for maintaining the ecosystem. That's why, as a resident of Pennsylvania and founding member of Elephants DC, I found it so crucial to have the Keystone State take action to save the keystone species.
I'll repeat what Raj said. The greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated. The greatness of our globe will be judged by the way its animals are treated. And as Bill described, in animals, we see elements of what we search for in ourself: compassion, kindness, understanding, empathy. We need to bring that same cause and share your ignorance with other people. Take the advice of an elder brother and make sure you tell other people about the plight of the animals. It is a question of our common humanity. Pennsylvania is not New Jersey. Pennsylvania will have a much harder time passing this legislation. I'm co-sponsoring it with a Republican colleague in order to strategically try to get this done. But I'm optimistic because it is a man-made problem and man can fix it. So I'm optimistic.
You and I have the power to save animals from extinction and cruelty. We have the power to end poaching, stop terrorists from profiting from it, and save elephants and rhinos from extinction. And we will. We have the power to end trophy hunting and save lions and tigers from extinction. And we will. I'm practicing for delivering a keynote address at the Democratic National Convention in 4 years. We have the power to end shark finning and save sharks from extinction. And we will. We have the power to end puppy mills and save dogs and cats from suffering. And we will. We have the power to end killing of black bears. And we will. We have the power to end the use of leg hole traps. And as soon as we get a new governor, and we will have the power to end the use of gestation crates. And we will. This is the message we are sending across America and throughout the world. We have the power to protect animals from extinction and cruelty. This is the message New Jersey has sent to the Trump brothers and other trophy hunters. If you bring your trophies into New Jersey, we will lock you up. And remember, they said a total ivory sales ban couldn't be done, and New Jersey did it. We are here today to prove the impossible is possible. We can save elephants and rhinos and lions and tigers and all endangered species. We can end cruelty to animals. Thank you, New Jersey, the humane state. Thank you.